Good morning, 819S. Another cool day, very comfortable, again about 20s. And today, I want to talk about another news story I read, and it made me think something. So recently, there's been some news stories about bus drivers in Japan. The story I read yesterday was about a lack of bus drivers. Recently, it seems to be harder and harder for bus companies to find bus drivers, so the story I read said that they're going to start cutting down on bus routes in some locations. I think it's throughout Japan, to be honest, but I think that they were focusing on big cities like Tokyo and other big cities. And it got me to thinking, I live in a place that kind of requires a bus if you don't have a car or your own transportation. I'd say from my house to the station is probably a 40-minute walk for most people at a normal pace. Probably do it in 20 to 30 minutes if you have long legs or you walk really fast. And then if you had a bicycle, it could probably be 15 minutes on a bicycle. But I think if there's going to be this trend of fewer and fewer bus drivers, therefore reducing the number of buses and stuff, I think that's another reason to get your own motorcycle, your own transportation. Obviously, a bicycle would be fine too if you don't feel like going through the licensing process. But Gentuskis, the 50cc bike, and then the new class will be 125 low power bikes, up to 125 but lower power. If you have a car driver's license, you're already licensed to do that. But if you don't have a license, yeah, a bicycle might be a better choice. Yeah. I think having your own personal transportation to get around the city is kind of a life changer, in my opinion, in Japan. I know some people don't feel that way, but my wife and I are able to go anywhere we want without really worrying about the timetable or the schedule. Some cases we do have to worry slightly about parking, but generally small bikes like Genskis can park anywhere. So I think that's one of the other good points. And if, like I said, if there's going to be fewer buses, the timetables are going to start getting stricter and tighter. So, yeah, it's going to be harder to get around. And I think insurance and gasoline and stuff like that actually make these a little bit more affordable. If I rode my bike to work and then home, I forgot my exact calculation, but I'd say it's like about 200 yen per day if you factor in oil changes, tires, gasoline, parking fee, insurance, everything. It's about 200 yen a day, round trip. And if I take the bus, it's 300 yen each way. So I basically save 400 yen just by riding a motorcycle or by riding a scooter. If you buy a big bike, obviously the calculation is going to be a little bit different because parking will be more expensive and gasoline will be a little more expensive, insurance, and so on. But a small bike like this definitely provides better cost performance than taking the bus every day. If you live in a place where the bus route's being cut down and you don't ride now, I definitely recommend finding a friend who has a Genski and asking if he can show you the ropes. Go to a parking lot together and just try driving it around and see what you think about it. I think they're not as dangerous as people think, as long as you use common sense and you stay a little proactive with your safety. And the very last thing, I guess, now that I'm thinking of this, is I've talked to people about it and said, hey, you have a little bit of rough commute. Why don't you just get a scooter? Why don't you get a motorcycle? I'm not really a bike person. I'm like, I don't think you have to be a bike person. You don't have to research all the latest bikes and keep up to date with all the new models and stuff like that. It's just transportation. I'm not a clothing person or a fashion person, but I wear clothes every day. You know what I mean? I'm not a foodie, but I cook and I eat food every day. So you don't have to be a die-hard gung-ho bike guy in order to buy a motorcycle or ride a motorcycle. Just, you need to be a guy or a girl who needs transportation and wants to find something that's comfortable and easy to get around on. Wow, that guy is nuts. Alright, yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Get out there and ride. Definitely ride safe.